Hello. Whoops. Hello, SolarLune here, and this is a devlog. I guess the first devlog for a game I'm working on. It's an adventure game. I started it roughly around the beginning of the year, and it's shaping up really well. The game is tentatively called I Know Who I Am. The game is shaping up pretty well. If you're waiting for me to finish something, I will finish something. Please be patient with me. Making games is not easy. It's there's lots of difficulties that come with making games, even beyond keeping up your own flow and your own determination to finish things. There's always something else that comes along that seems like a good idea, and I would definitely recommend someone who likes making games and who wants to stick with making games to try different things, like trying different projects or making tests or libraries, other things apart from sticking to one game to keep up their motivation, because it's very easy to lose it. So this is something I'll be working on. I don't plan for it to be very big, and I don't plan for it to go on for very long. We'll see how long it takes to finish, but hopefully it'll be done pretty quickly. I'll show what I have so far. Yeah, so this game is basically you play a character. The tentative plot is that you play a character who is like an alien who is taking over the life of another person. So you have to impersonate him, you have to learn about him, and effectively become this guy. That's the idea. So that's why you kind of wake up, you don't really know like who you are or what you're doing. You're just kind of like trying to learn to be him. That's the idea. Yeah. So overall, it's shaping up pretty well. I'm not sure about this outline effect around the player. I might just have a normal outline rather than this blue square. I'm going for basically like a Mega Zooks kind of limited color approach to the graphics, which is why like you'll see colors bleeding over in certain cases like this, just to kind of make it consistent and kind of give it a different feel. But overall, I feel like it's pretty good. It feels consistent, it feels clean, it feels very interesting looking. I like it a lot. So that's what I have so far. I have an inventory system, I have dialogue choices, I have interacting with things, I have events. I have all that, and there's actually a lot more that I haven't shown. So I'll just kind of go over some basics. The game itself is made using Raylib and Golang, but for the art and the map, it's all in Sprite actually, using slices. So basically, we'll take this as an example. These blue squares are just ordinary slices. Like if you just create a slice in Sprite, but if it has the name slice in my engine, it goes ahead and basically creates a square that you can't interact with. You can't interact with it. You can't move through it. It's just a block. It's just something in your way. And so that allows me to basically build a map pretty quickly just using these squares. And then I have other types of squares like this one. If it has 2 with a colon, then that's gonna lead to another map. And all I have to do is just say 2 colon and then the name of the map, and it'll become an exit to that map. If it has the name stairs, if it has the name stairs or stairs left, then as you move on it left or right, it'll move you up as like a staircase would. And then a couple of options is to give the name of another object, or a colon and then a name. And if it has the name of another object, it's going to substitute that object in. If it has a colon and then a name, that's basically an event. So the colon and a name is basically a shortcut to allow me to make something you can interact with that basically doesn't need to animate. So like this water spout, you don't need to animate it. I don't need to animate it because you're never going to turn it on, or it's never going to animate. So I just have something like this where it says colon water spout, and then when you go up to interact with it, it'll basically read in the events for the water spout event on the backyard board. The event system is something I made myself. We'll go to the bedroom. I made basically a scripting language of sorts. Double slashes are comments. MSG is a command. Basically, it is like a colon. I guess we'll start there. A colon, and then the word indicates a label. This is where basically the event picks up. So on the bedroom, a sprite file, the colon bed slice basically means when you interact with this, is going to read in this event system, this event block. It's going to display a message that says it's a bed, completely unfamiliar to me, and then another one that says I woke up here, and then white space, it means that it's done. And then we continue on, and there's another one that says window with a couple of messages, and that's this one here. So it's pretty simple, but also pretty advanced. This one is a dresser, is a event for the dresser, where it checks to see basically if you checked it already, then wait. Yeah, okay. If you check the dresser already, then it will play the animation that says it's empty. If you checked it already, then it'll say, hey, it's empty, and then it'll return. And if you use a return in the middle of an event, it'll just kick it out of the event. It'll end the event eventually, essentially. Otherwise, it'll continue on and then play this message that says it's a beat up armoire, and then it'll play an animation where it opens the item, which is in this sprite file, open item. And then it says the doors are really flimsy. Oh, there's a book in here, and then it plays the open empty animation. It says it's a novel. I took it, and then it gives you an item, book, and then it sets the check dresser flag to 1, so that basically this is true now. It'll do this now instead of not. So the way that it works is pretty advanced, even though it's kind of simple. It's advanced. It's advanced enough. It's not super advanced, but it is, I think, enough to basically get through making a pretty cool game. There's still quite a few events that a couple of events that I would like to add, like screen shaking, screen flashing, that I don't have functions for yet, but adding those should be pretty simple. The way that I made the asset system, for one thing, the assets are just stored in the assets directory, but apart from that, they could be anywhere, and the engine automatically, what's the word, like puts them in a directory. It knows where they are. So like when the game first starts, essentially, and you get the first asset, the engine walks through the assets folder and makes a notation of where each asset is. So as long as all the assets have unique names, I can get them and use them by just referring to their names regardless of where they are in this directory, which is nice. That means that I don't really have to pay attention to where things are so much as just making sure that they're uniquely named, and I call them the same thing when I'm actually using them, which is good. That's really useful. that allows me to have real control over the directories and where I place things to keep things sane. Another thing is that the assets have a modified time that they are have modified times that they are that they were loaded in or last used or last changed, which means that when the game's running, if an asset changes, the game will restart to load that in again. So it'll automatically, it basically keeps the game running in case you want to do stuff, which is nice because that allows you, that basically lessens the workflow. Lessens the friction on the workflow. So if I want to go to the bedroom and change something, to change some text, the game will just reload and I'll have the new text there. Boom. Really nice, really simple, really easy. Works with Sprite as well. So yeah, it's really easy, really basic, but really simple and really smooth. And the workflow, it's not super duper like perfect. It's not great. It's not excellent. Well, it's not perfect, but it is, I think, really good. I think it's a solid workflow that should be enough for simple or smaller games, and it should work well. So that's what I have so far. There's more that I have that I'm not showing. That's what I have so far. Yeah, so it's pretty good. I feel like this should be good for people who basically want to make a game, like an RPG game or an adventure game, like maybe Yume Nikki, or a game like that where it's not so much about like the underlying RPG system, but you might use RPG Maker just as something to allow you to like set flags, create game worlds, have NPCs to interact with, that kind of thing, without really like caring too much about the actual RPG stats and RPG battle system. I feel like this could be a nice kind of character adventure game engine, and that's the plan I have to actually sell this. I'm going to sell the game, but the engine I'm going to open source. At least that's the plan, so that way people who want to make games can have that ability. And the way that it works, all the game is separate from the engine effectively enough, I believe, where basically when the game's done, you could actually take the executable and put it into another folder and start a new game just like that. Like, you shouldn't have to actually like compile the engine or anything. You could actually make this game without make your own game without actually having coding experience, by just learning this scripting system and having Sprite to build in these JSON files and PNG files to build your maps and objects. So that's actually pretty crazy. Like, I didn't really intend for this to be an engine without, like, a codeless engine for game development, but it actually kind of turned into one. And it's just kind of like kind of an accident, but it works pretty well. So I'm hype. Yeah. So yeah, this is overall pretty cool. I think that there's definitely room for improvement. It's not perfect, but there is a lot here, and it works really well, I think, as it stands. Yeah, if people want to see more about it, I'll be happy to make more videos on specific systems within the game engine as they stand and as I'm working on them. And I'll be happy to see if we can keep this game going and get to the end. I think it'd be a little bit of a waste to stop now, especially with this idea of kind of a adventure game engine. That's something that I hadn't really intended to make, but it kind of turned out to be one, and I think that's that's kind of crazy. That's a pretty cool idea. I like that. So anyway, yeah, thank you very much for watching. This has been the first devlog video for I Know Who I Am, and yeah, it's been real. I'll catch you guys on the flip side, and thanks for watching. See ya.